This is a full tour of all of the plants we have available here at the Heirloom Farmer as of May 22nd. And I am super excited to show you all of the beautiful plants that we have ready for you. And I'm gonna give you a full tour, but I actually want to start by showing you this raised bed that I have and what I've got growing in here. And this lettuce is amazing. Look at this. It is so gorgeous. The leaves are huge. These would be great for making a wrap, all kinds of amazing things with this lettuce. This is Rouge de Hiver, and in here is Aunt May's Bib lettuce. And we have both of these available for you to purchase if you would like to grow this lettuce in your garden. Right now is an excellent time to plant lettuce. So I just wanted to show you that's what they look like when they are grown. I'm going to actually harvest some of that soon for us to eat. But it is just absolutely beautiful and thriving. So you can absolutely grow lettuce like this. I will show you, actually we'll head right over to the lettuce now, and I'll show you what we have for the lettuce. So this is the Rouge de Hiver. This is Aunt May's Bib lettuce. We've also got Cimarron, an heirloom blend, Winter Density, and Marvel of Four Seasons. So give that lettuce a try. If you've struggled to grow lettuce in the past, check out my tips for growing lettuce like what you saw over there in my raised bed. We also have Bloomsdale spinach and cilantro. Right now is a great time to plant both of these. They like the cooler weather that we're still having, and you will be able to get abundant harvests from these pretty quickly. So those are ready to be planted and go in. We've also got rainbow Swiss chard and an heirloom beet mix, Brussels sprouts, purple Savoy cabbage, green express cabbage, and then for cauliflower we have Romanesco, which is a green spiraled, pretty unique cauliflower. Robber cauliflower is like your traditional white, and it has always done really well for me. And then purple of Sicily is a purple cauliflower, which is so fun, and it's really cool, especially for kids, to kind of get them interested in trying more cauliflower. We've got kale, more Swiss chard, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, all year round cauliflower, which is exactly what it sounds like. It does well growing all year round. Some more purple. We've got purple Savoy cabbage and green express cabbage in these larger plants. If you have struggled to grow any of these brassica plants in the past, I have two main suggestions. If they just don't seem to grow well for you, consider adding more organic compost to your garden. If you've struggled with pests, there are two things I recommend to help overcome the pests, especially the little green caterpillars. One is to use a row cover. You can kind of see one out there in my garden that keeps the moths off of the plants, unable to lay their eggs, and then it keeps the caterpillars off. And because none of these need to be pollinated in order to produce food, you can leave that cover on the entire time that they're growing and prevent those pests from getting in. The other thing that you can do is less fun, but you can hand pick the caterpillars off. And if you check every few days and just pinch them off and remove them, that is also very effective and can help you get a very successful harvest. So give that a try. But let's skip over here into the high tunnel And look at these gorgeous tomato plants for a moment. So you will see scattered around, we have tomatoes in larger pots and hanging baskets. And there's a few varieties. We have this Geranium Kiss tomato. It is a fairly compact and short tomato that gets golf ball sized red tomatoes on it. So they can be grown in containers. They typically do not need trellised. They may need a little bit of support if they get really heavy with tomatoes on one side, but they are a great container variety and they're going to produce early tomatoes. In the hanging baskets, we've got Cherry Falls tomatoes. Some of them have marigolds and some are paired with sweet alyssum. In fact, this one already has tomatoes on it. That is super exciting. And you can grow them in the hanging baskets. They will start to spill down over, hence the name Cherry Falls. And you will get an early and abundant harvest of small red cherry tomatoes. With any containers, especially tomatoes that you're growing in containers, you do want to make sure to feed them a few times throughout the season to keep them healthy and productive. We recommend using worm castings to do that, but you can use any natural or organic plant food or compost. We've also got Tiny Tim. They are a dwarf tomato plant with little red cherry tomatoes, and you can grow them in these containers all season long. And then we do have a few others I'll show you as we go through, but these are really excellent tomato options, especially if you have limited space or you just want a unique early tomato. All right, over here we've got our selection of pepper plants. These are our hot peppers and they kind of go up in heat as we go. So the early jalapeno, it's like your traditional jalapeno, but on earlier maturing plants. So you're gonna get a harvest earlier and it's adapted to growing better in our cooler climate. So give those a try for your traditional jalapeno pepper. Martin's carrot pepper is a smoky hot red-orange pepper. It's got a little bit of heat to it for sure, but a really great flavor. And it actually originated in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. A little bit of unique history there. And then the fish pepper is going to be the hottest of these peppers. And it is a beautiful green and white striped pepper. And the plant also shows some of that green and white striped coloring. So it's also a very beautiful plant. Then we have our sweet peppers. We have King of the North, which is a traditional bell pepper. You can harvest green or red, and it does well in our northern climate. If you've had trouble getting bell peppers to grow and mature in the past, try King of the North. It is the bell pepper I've had the most success with in my garden. It's earlier to mature than other bell peppers, so you can often get more of a harvest and a lot more peppers over the season. These mini bell peppers are great for growing in containers. They're fun for kids to grow. They are literally just a mini bell pepper. So super cute, great for snacking and fun to grow with kids. And then sheep nose pimento. It's a tomato shaped red pepper, really juicy, thick flesh, really good for stuffing because they're kind of short and squat. They sit really well in a pan and they're great for stuffing. And lipstick pepper. This is a long pimento type pepper, bright red, and the most prolific sweet pepper I've ever grown in my garden. Beautiful, delicious peppers. Now we have dark green zucchini, which is kind of your traditional zucchini. We will have more squash coming soon, but squash definitely prefer hot temperatures or warm temperatures at very least. So we start them a little bit later, but we do have the dark green zucchini now. We also have butternut squash and muncher cucumbers. One thing I would note with the dark green zucchini is the best time to harvest them is actually when like 6 to 8 inches long and still slender. You're gonna get the best texture and flavor by harvesting them early rather than waiting for the giant zucchini. And one of our favorite ways to eat zucchini is actually making scalloped zucchini. So think scalloped potatoes, but with sliced zucchini and extra cheese. They are so good. We've got Provider bush beans. So if you want to grow some bush beans, give these a try. I really like these slender, long, kind of French style beans. All right, over here we've got vintage nasturtium coming along, which is an edible flower, and the leaves are also edible. It's also absolutely beautiful and really attractive to pollinators. We've got some 4 packs of flag petunias. You'll be able to see what they look like blooming here in a little bit in larger pots, and also these pirouette rose. I'll show you, we have some blooming so you can see what those look like. They are gorgeous. These asters, they are large blooms of apricot colored asters. Great for floral arrangements and just beautiful in your garden. I always grow a few of those in my garden. Also, for cut flowers, we've got Cinderella Peach and Queenie Mix zinnias. And I love zinnias. I think they're underrated because the more you cut them and harvest the blooms, the bushier the plants are, the more they produce blooms, and they will bloom well into fall, right up until we get a frost. So long blooming, and these colors that I chose are really, really beautiful in your garden and in cut flower arrangements, especially if you pair them with something like eucalyptus, which we do have a eucalyptus here. It is also deer resistant, so if you struggle with deer, they will leave eucalyptus alone. We've also got rosy rosemary and Munstead lavender. Now, you can grow both of these as a perennial. They just need extra care to overwinter in our zone. I have successfully grown lavender outdoors year-round over winter, but it likes to be in well-draining soil. And if it likes where it's at, it will grow from year to year. Now, I did lose a few of mine over this crazy winter that we had. I think it was actually in the spring when we had that freeze. I did lose a few of mine, so next year I may dig them up and bring them in. I also always grow some in pots, so I have some in my house as well. And the rosemary, that's how I grow my rosemary, is in pots. I'll move it out during the summer, and then I move it in and grow it as a houseplant in the winter. And that has worked really well for me, and it just smells amazing, and I love to have it growing in the winter. So lots of options for growing them as perennials, but you may want to consider growing them in pots to get the longest life out of both of those. We've also got some shade plants down here. These begonias are stunning. Look at the foliage on these. The color of that foliage alone is beautiful, and they will bloom. And then some of these other begonia colors. So we definitely have some shade plants. This lobelia is beautiful. I have some of this at home in a hanging basket, and it trails beautifully. I'll show you, we have some other shade plants in the greenhouse too. All right, this is like our table of marigolds. There are so many reasons to grow marigolds. And if you think you don't like marigolds, give them another try. And actually, I never really liked marigolds until I started growing the strawberry blonde marigolds, which I'll skip over here a minute and show you. These are the strawberry blonde marigolds. They are beautiful. As the weather warms up, they get more yellow in color and a little bit of just pinks in there. When it's cooler, they have these redder blooms, but they are really, really gorgeous. I love these marigolds. That's why I started growing marigolds again. But now there are lots and lots of colors. Tangerine, orange, there's these Bambino, which are orange with lemon stripes, and there are going to be shorter, bushier plants. Marvel Gold is kind of your, traditional bold yellow large blooms on medium-sized plants. Crackerjack and Sugar and Spice, they're going to be your tallest marigolds. They can get up to 3 feet tall, really bushy plants. They actually make great cut flowers because of the stem length, and they're really long lasting in vases. But also just beautiful in the garden. And marigolds are beautiful, but they also will attract a lot of beneficial insects to your garden, which is why often a lot of people will plant them in their garden, and I do as well. I think there's a ton of benefits, as well as them being beautiful. Also, for beneficial insects, I recommend planting Sweet Alyssum. It gets the beautiful white flowers on, like these, and it attracts a lot of beneficial insects. I don't know if you just saw the honeybee there. Was on them. They are buzzing with activity already. So they're a really great one to plant in your garden. We've got painted daisies, which are a perennial that have a kind of a sunset range of colors when they bloom. Echinacea, or purple coneflower, is also a beautiful perennial, great for pollinators. And calendula. This calendula is a yellow porcupine, is what it's called. It has quill-like petals on huge blooms that are bright yellow. It is great for attracting beneficial insects to your garden. It's also just a really, really beautiful flower. And then more strawberry blonde marigolds here. All right, so I'm gonna go around this way. We've got some more of the hanging baskets with alyssum and cherry falls. Some pansies in hanging baskets. And these are the pirouette petunias that I was showing you. They have these ruffled hot pink blooms with the white frilly edges. They are so beautiful. So yeah, we've got those available in 4-inch pots and 4-packs. Here's another cherry falls that has tomatoes on it already. That's super exciting. These are the flag mix petunias. So beautiful in the red, white, and blue. It is a little bit more of a purple, but still it is a beautiful combination, and we have those available in the 4-packs and these 4-inch pots. And I have one hanging basket left with the mix in them. And then we have some assorted planters as well. And then these are a pink wave petunia. They are all of these petunias are going to get really large, so give them plenty of space. They're going to be really bushy, kind of a medium trailing habit. They will really fill up your space beautifully. We've also got some Dusty Miller for a little bit of a different coloring of foliage in your flower beds and containers. A few more shade plants down here. Some Impatiens and Coleus. And then while we're talking about ornamentals, got a couple grasses here that are beautiful in landscapes, but they also make great fresh and dried they're great in floral arrangements, if I can speak here. They are really, really unique in floral arrangements, both fresh and dried. So the bunny tails have soft, fluffy bunny tail type plumes. Feather top has like 6-inch long woolly plumes that are really cool looking. Millet Jester gets purplish burgundy full grass and really long plumes on as well. And greater quaking grass gets a grain head on that is really cool fresh, but it's like a perfectly golden color dried and can be really long lasting. I have some that I cut last fall. It's been in our house all winter and it looks amazing. So I'm definitely growing more of that, all of these, because they make really great arrangements. Sage is a perennial herb that smells great. Lots of culinary uses. We use it to make sausage. It also gets beautiful purple blooms on it. And then this Torch Minty Ice Lavender is kind of a unique lavender with this fern-like foliage and these bluish purple blooms on them. Some of them are already blooming. It will most likely grow as an annual unless you bring it inside over winter. So it could grow as a perennial, but it's fairly tender, so it would not survive winters in our area. So you can either enjoy it as an annual this season or bring it in a container for overwinter. Got lots of beautiful pansies, all different shades and colors. And then inside the greenhouse, we've got Tiny Tim tomatoes. These are the dwarf tomato I showed you. We have some in pots outside, but we also have these in 4-inch containers if you want to pot them up yourself or plant them right into your garden. You can do that as well. And then Orange Hat is an extra dwarf tomato. This is about as big as it will get. And you can see it's already covered in blooms. It will get orange cherry tomatoes on it and will produce a surprising amount of tomatoes for this small plant. So again, if you're growing in containers or you have limited space, or maybe you just want a smaller amount of tomatoes, again, these are still abundant producers, but they're not going to produce hundreds and hundreds of tomatoes, just a nice handful of tomatoes, every few days. So a very manageable plant if that's what you're looking for. These are my favorite cherry tomato, Sunrise Bumblebee. They are a beautiful yellow cherry tomato with a pink blush. Super sweet, great for snacking in the garden. I really love snacking on those. We've got Cherry Roma tomatoes. I'm not going to go into real depth on each one of our tomatoes. If you want to know more about tomatoes, I actually have a full video on YouTube already going into depth on every single tomato that we have, so you can jump over and watch that video, but I will hit a few highlights since I am giving you this full tour today. So Cherry Roma, that's going to be great if you want to sun dry tomatoes. They're really great for that kind of use because they're a drier tomato. Pega My Heart is a really beautiful, delicious beefsteak tomato with a unique history. Large red cherry tomato, exactly what it sounds like. It is a golf ball sized red tomato that produces abundantly on large plants. The grower who actually introduced these tomatoes and saved them, saved the seeds, actually loves them for canning them whole. Due to their size and texture, they're really great to just stick in a jar and can whole. So give that a try. Matt's Wild Cherry Tomato is really prolific, and the flavor of these little cherry tomatoes is amazing. Homestead Tomato is a great red slicer, and it does well in all weather conditions. It's crack resistant, wilt resistant, and just a really tough tomato plant. It withstands a lot. Black strawberry tomato is an early maturing strawberry, often one of the first that we harvest, and it's got a beautiful marbled purple, pink, green golf ball sized tomato. And then San Marzano and Amish paste are kind of going to be your traditional classic paste tomatoes for making sauce. And then we've got basil, we've got Genovese, kind of your traditional basil, Spice Boys, which is this compact, bushy plant with slightly smaller leaves, but still a lot of flavor. These are great for growing in containers. And then lettuce leaf basil that gets these giant leaves on them. Great for pesto, sandwiches, all the basil things with these giant leaves. We've got hillbilly tomatoes, which is kind of your beautiful yellow slicer that's known to have a lower acidity. Brandywine, Nepal, bread and salt, which a lot of these are great for tomato sandwiches, but that's one of my favorite for tomato sandwiches. Cherokee purple, and then we've got a few odds and ends in here like Brad's Atomic Grape, Orange Icicle, Aunt Ruby's German Green, Pink Fang, and a few more Peg of My Heart tomatoes. So we have got your unique heirloom tomato varieties. I hope you'll give a few new ones a try this year, maybe something you haven't tried before. We really try and choose our tomatoes for flavor and those that grow well in our weather here in Pennsylvania. So these are excellent varieties to try in your garden this year. We've also got some shade plants down here on the bottom, Impatiens, Lobelia, Coleus, which is great for adding color to your flower beds all season long, some beautiful foliage. So lots of shade plant options. And that pretty much wraps us up. I do want to mention, to shop our plants, you have two options. So our plants are available for self-serve shopping, which I'll talk more about in a minute, but we also have plant sales where we are here. We love getting to meet you and visit with you during the plant sales. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, help you choose plants. We're here to check you out and help you carry plants to your car, all the things, and we usually have something extra going on. So our plant sales are really fun. We have one tomorrow, May 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we have another one May 30th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we would love to see you at one or both of those plant sales. And also, if you can't make it to one of those, you can come by for self-serve shopping. So we are open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for self-serve shopping. Just choose your plants. The prices are marked on each plant. And then head inside our farm store here. There are also boxes in here if you'd like to fill up a box with your plants. Easier to carry that way. Excuse me. I've got information here on planting tomatoes, and this is our self-checkout. You can pay with cash in the box, Venmo using the QR code in your Venmo app, and you can use the iPad to pay with a card. If you have any questions when you're here, my number is on the wall. You're welcome to give me a call and I can help you out. And you might find me here. I'm here often anyway. But again, if you would like to come when we're here, which we would love, come to one of our plant sales. We've also got a few other things that you will find in our farm store, like worm castings, some handmade bags, some pepper products from our friends at Black Branch Farm. We've got locally made cheese, local pastured eggs, and raw milk in regular and chocolate. We also have additional seasonal products. So we do have honey from my brother's bees right here on our family farm. It is currently sold out, but we hope to have honey. He hopes to be able to harvest honey in June, so check back for that. We also have heirloom pie pumpkins and potatoes in the fall, as well as some other seasonal products. So we hope that you will come shop with us. If you have any questions, let us know. Happy gardening, and God bless.